Hello, I've just finished this book, Hospital Sketches from the Civil War. And this is the point in the video where I must remind you, that this is a personal vlog about all the books I've read, which is a disclaimer because this video not going to be a banger because I just don't really have that much to say. I just didn't really have that many thoughts about Hospital Sketches from the Civil War. It was sort of like the dietary fiber of books. It just sort of passed right through me. Um, I guess I was kind of struck by how fucking boring it is. Mainly because it just seems like Louisa May Alcott is in a situation where she would have a lot to say about a lot of like really interesting things, and she kind of just doesn't. And she doesn't say them. I mean, I don't know. Like the I feel like there's this sort of like attitude of the time that like certain things you just don't talk about directly, and it makes it like just much more boring. um Also, I found her writing style really annoying. um yeah. And yeah, I guess maybe that's kind of it. Is that it? I mean, I guess it would be like a more interesting book if you were invested in the writings of Louisa May Alcott, like maybe if you knew more about her, or if you found that her like prose to be her prose style to be like not annoying the way that I do. Um, Maybe then you'd be really interested. Maybe if you'd never like heard of the Civil War before, if you didn't know that there was a Civil War in America, you could read this and be like, "Whoa, that's crazy! They were really just like shooting at each other over that, man." Um, I don't know. There's like a couple of anecdotes that she tells that are kind of interesting. Um, and they're not interesting enough for it to be worth it to read the book or for me to even bother recounting what they are. Um, yeah, I don't know. Real solid pass on this one. Which I feel bad about saying because my mom got me this book for me and I was like so excited to read it, and then I did read it and it kind of sucks. I mean, one thing is it's a really short book. Look at that. That's very very short. It's less than like 100 pages, which I love me a short book because just get in, get out. That's a great way for a book to be, especially when it sucks because then you're done with it very quickly. Um, yeah, which is how this one was. I kept expecting it to suddenly be like good or interesting, and it just kept not doing that. I guess the gender roles of the book were like a little bit interesting, but I don't really feel like they were a huge focus. Like, I don't know. I guess I just like was kind of reflecting as I was reading this on how much it must have just sucked to be like in the 19th century and like to have a gender, because I mean these guys are dying, right? The guys that Louisa May Alcott was like nursing. Um and they're dying, and even as they're dying, they're not really allowed to just like abandon the conventions of masculinity in ways that would like very obviously benefit them. Like they're not allowed to, or it's like discouraged because of their gender roles. It's discouraged for them to show weakness or to do things like cry or like be upset that they're gonna die. Um, and man, doesn't that suck? Um, yeah. The only other thing worth mentioning is that there's one passage where she like doesn't want to cry or something, and she refers to the tears on her face as like loathsome moisture or something. I don't remember the exact phrase, but it was like some sort of like multi-syllable, like more than two syllables, uh adjective, and then moisture, which I think is just really fun. I think it's fun to modify the noun moisture with with a word, that especially if it's a long word. Now, did that make reading was reading this book worth it just for the loathsome moisture? No, absolutely not. But hey, I got to get my kicks somewhere.